Day one on the floor with Mark Tory from Defense Metals. Mark, how are you?
Good, thanks, Tracy. How are you?
We were just discussing prior to this interview, Defense Metals is one of those companies I think the audience still needs to understand how competitive you are with your rare earth project. And we were talking about some of the competitive elements. You were talking about the beneficiation process. Let's start there.
Sure. Look, one of the reasons I moved from Perth to Vancouver to take over Defence was when I did my due diligence on the Wicheeda Project, it revolved around the fact that we could do a simple beneficiation process at Wicheeda where it took the 2.4% that it's in the ground to a 50% concentrate grade. And I've been in rare earths for over 11 years now. I've analysed many rare earth projects globally. And I've always said that if you can get a 30% plus concentrate grade, you've got a chance of being economic. The 50% puts Wicheeda, in my eyes, as a world-class deposit in relation to rare earths.
Okay, so dumb it down for our audience. They probably don't know what a beneficiation process is.
Yep.
Okay, they're just hearing everyone talk about we have rare earths,
Yep.
Okay? But you were mentioning if you don't have a way to get it out of the ground, it really doesn't matter.
Correct, and if you don't beneficiate it, so the beneficiation process is after mining, you go through just a crush, a grind, and you do a flotation circuit. And so then that brings all the mineralisation through, and if you can get, as I said, above 30%, you've got a great chance of being economic. Wicheeda gets us to 50%, so that's what puts us in a very, very, very great spot in relation to global rare earth projects.
Well, some people are getting the Defense Metals project, in particular government officials are. I was just reading a couple of the headlines that have come out recently. Defense Metals showcases rare earth leadership in European trade mission led by the Canadian government. Tell us a little bit more about what happened here.
Yeah, so Defence was one of 17 critical mineral companies invited by the federal government to go on a trade mission through Europe. To do some pitch sessions as well as to do some business-to-business sessions with potential off-takers, investors, etc., all through Europe. Defence was only one of 2 rare earth companies that was on this mission, so it just demonstrates in the federal government's eyes where Defence sits in relation to how important it is for the federal government.
And it's incredibly competitive out there, Mark. I mean, we see so many new companies popping up, critical minerals every single day. But let's talk about your background. You have a significant background in the rare earth industry, massive leadership, and you've been with a very successful project, and you've come across to Canada. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background and why you're qualified to lead Defense Metals into a successful mandate?
Sure. I've been in resources for over 30 years. I cut my teeth at large companies like Homestake and Anglo American, so I have all the foundations for how large companies work, wanting to turn Defence into one of those large companies. I've been in rare earths well over 11 years, was with Northern Minerals for 10 years in Western Australia, built and operated a rare earth processing facility, a $70 million facility up in the Kimberleys in Western Australia. Spent a lot of time in China, going through the industry in China. Analysing the players in China. So yeah, as I said before, I've analysed most projects globally, and Wicheeda to me just sticks out like a sore thumb in relation to a world-class deposit, and which is why I'm here and why I want to get it developed.
Okay, Wicheeda, world-class deposit from Defense Metals. Why is it a world-class deposit? Again, share it with our audience.
Again, it's because it can go from a 2.4% in the ground to a 50% concentrate grade. We've got some of the best people working on it. John Good, he's an internationally renowned metallurgist. He's worked on our flow sheet and he's continuing to work on our flow sheet. We've just recently appointed Robin Jones to come in as our VP Projects. Robin worked with me as well at Northern Minerals, and he built and operated the Browns Range processing facility. And we've just got great people, and the project itself, the location, what Mother Nature's done in relation to the actual mineralisation itself, we couldn't be more blessed as a company.
Which rare earths do you have?
We are doing neodymium and praseodymium at site, so NdPr, that's our major revenue item. And what we've seen with current pricing that's going on with NdPr, I mean, it's over doubled in the space of less than 12 months.
It has indeed doubled, and we're all watching the core four minerals, so it's very exciting. Defense Minerals has this. Now, we've got a lot of news. You've been putting out news regularly and hitting milestones ever since you moved across the ocean to lead Defense Metals. And I see here you were selected as one of only 3 new promising projects by the British Columbia Critical Minerals Office for their Advanced Project Initiative. What is this?
So that's just going to help us advance through the permitting process and give us access to the right level of people to make sure that we're getting this permit put through the BC government as quickly as possible without cutting corners.
So the Canadian government definitely is behind you. Your infrastructure is fantastic with your location in British Columbia, correct?
Correct, absolutely. We're near Prince George, so we've got existing infrastructure with hydroelectric power, roads, rail. I've got an existing workforce that's in Prince George for the mining industry, so as I said, it's very, very well located.
International caliber management, of course. Now, what should shareholders be looking forward to in this next quarter?
So we're about to start and kick off our full-on feasibility study, looking to get that started by Hatch. We're also looking to kick off some of our pilot plant test work at SGS. So there's a 30-tonne pilot plant that we're about to start in the next couple of months. We're doing some work with the Saskatchewan Research Council to do some test work on the separation. So yeah, there's quite a few things that's happening over the next quarter.
I'd love it if you'd add a few more lines on what's happening with the Saskatchewan Research Council.
Yeah, they're just, again, we've got an MOU with them. We've sent them some samples to do some of the separation test work that we'd like to do. And yeah, we're just looking forward to the results of that, seeing if we can incorporate any of it into our flow sheet.
And what are you expecting to achieve here at PDAC?
We've got lots of meetings actually here at PDAC, which is great. Meetings with government, potential investors, as well as potential off-takers. So it's just very, very busy. Not sure, expect to have anything that we're going to sign when we're here, but it's certainly, there's some great discussions that we're having over all parts of our business.
A competitive beneficiation process, amazing professional leadership, infrastructure in place, British Columbia, very accessible, Defense Metals. For more information, go to the following website. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today.
Thanks very much, Tracy.